I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We will start with a prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and then roll call. Dear God, thank you for all of our blessings. We pray for your Spirit to lead us each step of this year. We ask for your wisdom, for your strength and power with which to guide our decisions. We pray for your protection over our families, friends, and members of our military. We ask that you provide for the needs of our residents and that they shall prosper. Help us to be generous, kind, and look to the needs of others. It is in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. Roll call, please.
Barth.
Here.
Bassett.
Here.
Beverly.
Here.
Ridgway.
Present.
Jones.
Here.
You have February 5th, although I don't know, do you have February 5th? Is there a reason why we're approving the February 5th?
They weren't approved last time.
Oh, they weren't, okay.
No quorum.
Then we will approve the February 5th minutes and the February 19th minutes from the regular council meeting.
I move to approve the February 5th minutes.
Second that.
Roll call, please.
Bassett.
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
And I would entertain a motion to pass the February 19th regular council meeting minutes.
I make a motion.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Jones.
Abstain.
Beverly.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Okay. You have an approved bills list in your packet. And I'm just curious, and I don't, maybe you could answer this, Cheryl, today when I read it, but it just says under the credit card, police, doctor purchase. Do you have any idea what that is?
I didn't at the time. I do now.
Oh,
And so I do have the paperwork on it. I didn't when these bills were sent in. I had a copy of the amount, but it didn't have what it was. It's I don't know what it is, some kind of gun holster thing.
okay.
Mayor, if nobody has any questions, I move to approve the bill.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Bassett.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Going forward then to boards and commissions. In your packet, you have minutes from the park board meeting, and I do not see anyone here from the park board. If anybody has any questions. And you have minutes from the beautification committee meeting of January 22nd. And I see that it says in there, under item 4, Farmers Market, that I'm still waiting for an answer from the First Church of Christ regarding the use of the current Farmers Market location. They did tell me that it was okay to use the North Main Street location again, so just an update on those minutes. Any questions about either of those? I don't know who would answer them, but.
I have a question, like you say, who's nobody here to answer.
Okay.
Jim might know something. Joyce has been investigating getting a used S10. I thought that they were gonna get the blue Dodge.
I mean, that's not my decision.
Was that the one that,
If they-
that was being looked at before I left on vacation?
That's the mowing and hauling the salt.
Oh, that one of yours?
Smaller locations, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
the zoning officer uses to haul the mower around, and we use it for this mosquito spraying.
Well, I guess what, maybe I just heard it on the street, I don't know, but I had heard it, maybe you were gonna upgrade that one and that wasn't sure. Get passed down.
You probably heard partially correct. What the plan was to get the old fire trucks, pickup truck, and use that for the hauling the mowing and the mosquito spraying and all that, and then donate the blue Dodge to the beautification committee. That was the original plan, but that didn't come to fruition.
Okay.
So then going on to council committee reports, you have in your packet minutes from the Streetlight Property Committee, which met March 1st. And you do have the minutes on the table tonight when you came. Do you have anything to add to them, Ron?
I don't have anything to add, but would entertain anybody's questions on anything there is there.
The state paving, they're gonna do the paving for 18, I think, not the whole run. We were talking about that.
Basically, they're gonna stop it. Some are, Jim should highlight on this, but some are the corporation limits, some are just into town, and that's gonna be for keeps, according to the way that the state has addressed Jim. They're never gonna pave through town again.
That's all on us.
And that's a big, wide asphalt gobbling street.
So, did you make a decision about putting a curb on Bunnell Street there at High? I've had complaints about that water hole.
Jim was gonna look into it, a couple different things there, I'll find it here, the curb and also the, curb at the Catholic Church where that rock wall's deteriorated. Jim was gonna check on both of them, kind of blend them together and see what we could get put together. And I haven't had time to do anything on that yet.
I did not today,
Okay.
but that'll be on the agenda to make some contacts this week and
But
see
I
where
don't
we
know
can go.
if anybody, excuse me, Jim, I didn't know if anybody had seen that wall. The rocks are rolling out in the street. I looked at it as best as I could without getting ran over. I don't know how long that wall's been there, 100 years. I know it's been there 64. But it's just had salt and slush thrown against it for so many years that everything is gone. I'm sorry about that. You know, all the mortar and all the rocks, everything is gone. And so we had discussed if you reblocked it, cost would be exuberant. We talked about just a concrete retaining wall, and Jim was going to check on all these things. It looks like I say, I couldn't get down on my hand, wouldn't get down on my hands and knees to check, but the footer looks good. So we may be able to just set a wall on the existing footer. But from the there's about that much footer sticking up out of the asphalt, and from there on up, it's shot.
Are the rocks just falling off the top, or are they falling out of the
They're
side?
falling out of
Right side in the
everywhere.
middle, just all big ones.
I know that thing's been there my entire life. I have no idea when it was actually put there. One of the topics that we got into at the meeting was, God, I've got a lot to say for somebody who didn't have anything to say. One of the topics we got into at the meeting was, I remember there was an accident when Bob Jordan was somebody had hit that wall, and he went and tried everything to get the state to take care of it, and they said, that's the wall. So that Jim's gonna be up against that. That's probably gonna end up being our ticket. So it's something to look forward to. And that is all I have to say.
The request that I passed on to you for handicap parking downtown, I can give you the telephone number of the person that made that request for a couple of handicap parking spaces on the north side of the street.
Well, and that was the thing, and we discussed that briefly when you were here, Mayor, is north side of the street doesn't really mean anything to me. They gotta go, you know, we wanna be in front of the Huber, we wanna be in front of Napa, or wherever we wanna be. And if you can give me that phone number,
I have to look, it's on my
okay,
desk.
that's fine.
It's on
Yeah,
my
we'll get
desk.
that right after the meeting then.
Okay.
Thank you.
All righty. Thank you for your report. Okay. Okay, what,
We had a quick, not real quick, but we had a police, fire, and EMS meeting today at 5 o'clock. Don't have the minutes yet, it'll be in next week's packet. Big thing we wanted to address was they had accepted applications for some EMS openings since Cody Royer had stepped down and took a different position elsewhere. We had an applicant, and we'd like to recommend him to become the new EMS chief, which would be Bruce Silcock. And we also had, for the full-time EMT position, John Elwood, who is, both of them have been working for Hicksville EMS for a while now. And like to have John Elwood do the new full-time EMT position. And we'd like to advance Bob Meyer to the EMS assistant chief position, which that one's been vacant for quite some time, so. And the other stuff we're gonna discuss, and then you'll have minutes for the next meeting, but those are the three that we'd like to get filled.
why haven't we had an assistant chief for a while?
We just never filled it.
Once Cody stepped in and
Once Cody stepped in, it never really got filled.
Okay. I will recommend Bruce Silcott as the EMS chief.
Everybody's good with this? I mean EMS, or Bob, and everybody's good with it?
I'll make a motion for the mayor's recommendation.
I'd second it.
Roll call, please.
Ridgway,
Yes.
Bassett,
yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Barth. Barth.
Yes.
And I would recommend John Elwood as a full-time EMT.
He's able to cover all the extra shifts and everything. Worked on that with him. I know you guys run a lot, with the three of you on full-time, so.
That was one thing we also discussed in our committee meeting, how many runs they've had so far this year. It was 79 calls in 63 days.
Yeah, I hear him go off a lot. Again, I'll make the mayor's recommendation for John Elwood.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Bassett,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Anything else from your meeting tonight?
Bob Meyer to the EMS assistant. chief
Okay,
position.
well, I will recommend Bob Meyer to the EMS assistant chief position.
Yeah, I'll get right behind that with the mayor.
I'll second.
I thought we did all three together.
Barth,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Ridgway.
Because I'm the new guy.
Paperwork, a lot of this stuff.
Anything else?
Nope, that was it. And I'll have the minutes for our meeting and next meeting's agenda.
Okay. Are there any other committees that have met that want to give a report? Okay, all right. We'll go on to the administrator's report.
It should be in your packets. If anybody has any questions on anything I put in the report, please let me know.
Is this one here, Kim, is that the one that's clear out there across from Powell's first?
Yes, sir,
Okay.
right there across from Mrs. Hostetler. That is pending, pending weather. They're going to start working on that one this Wednesday. Yeah.
So is the brush pickup gonna be a done deal?
We would like to discuss that. We're open to suggestions and discussion. But we would like to start doing it.
So you gonna
And
have
then-
a committee meeting with that? Or what?
Oh, we kind of sort of did. We discussed it at the street and property, but it really kind of falls under refuse, so can we squeeze, yeah, kind of does. Can we squeeze that in Wednesday,
We
Mike?
have a water sanitary meeting Wednesday at 4. It's gonna be a long one. Be prepared. Yeah, that's, because I heard about this through the grapevine. I know you're probably talking to some other council people. We have not discussed it as a committee. I wanted to, because I know with our budgeting with the the garbage and everything else with outsourcing to Warler, that budget was kind of pinched a little bit with, other things, so. I know we're trying to find extra things there in the community to work on and help keep the community clean and everything, so, we can discuss it.
Maybe we can discuss it as a council tonight.
Yeah.
I'm for it. I think we should do it. How many hours well, you never know, but
Well, that's where the discussion I'd like to see begin is, there's a, and I can play devil's advocate with myself, probably as good as anyone, but if we did it on just Mondays, you do run the risk then of people putting it out Saturday morning and it sits there all weekend and you gotta look at it. We discussed that a little bit. We also discussed those that have access to alleys. What if they put it in the alley and we drove through there, and some of our alleys, that led us to start talking about our alleys and how, downgraded they are. They're just not in good shape. And that led to some other discussion, but that's neither here nor there with this topic. I just feel like, especially with the elderly, and some people don't have access to pickup trucks, and you see people in all kinds of different vehicles taking things to the recycle lot, literally sticks and leaves in their trunk of their car. I wouldn't want to shut the recycle lot down right away, but it'd be nice to have it as another service. And as far as the budget goes, we're paying 2 or 3 people to be on the clock anyway, correct? What fund does it come out of? If the refuse fund needs to be discussed, then so be it. But maybe I'm misunderstanding it and Cheryl could correct me, but it's a shell game anyway, I think. You got street department funds here, refuse here. Refuse used to be a enterprise fund.
Still is.
It is, but we use that funding now to pay a contractor versus keeping it ourselves. And Kent had a long letter before he left about what's going to happen, and he was concerned about all of that. So I think that's where it should all start.
is there gonna be a limit? Like if they trim a whole tree or cut a tree down, you don't want a whole tree out there, right?
Yeah, we put some,
I didn't see that in the minutes.
yeah, we did. We put some stipulations in there.
I saw it's gotta be all lined up.
On the
On the
backside.
diameter.
As it is now, if the lightning takes down a tree, the guys go out and take chainsaws and get it off the road. Because it's an emergency, there's a big limb laying across the road, they'll get out and cut it up and then use the backhoe if they have to get the bigger logs off the road so the road is passable. What this would do is be more for like your day-to-day brush. You pick up sticks in your yard whenever there's some wind, and you put them at the curb and they come by and pick them up. We would have the pickup truck follow the chipper for bigger stuff that we can't chip. But then that again, then we need to mobilize the backhoe so we can pick up the bigger stuff and put it in the back of the, dump. So there's a little coordination involved, but a chipper will only take a 6-inch in diameter.
I don't think we want to go into the tree trimming business.
No.
If somebody takes a whole tree down, then they ought to get,
Right.
a tree removal
But I've seen it
company.
happen.
Yeah, but it shouldn't.
Agreed.
Should be, yeah, okay.
This is more for your own,
You're just trimming things up,
You're talking maybe a couple hours every Monday to run through town, or are you thinking a half a day?
probably the whole day, most of the
Oh, really?
day.
Okay.
As it gets more popular, and I'd like to see that. Some comments were made from several people, though, that they wouldn't want to see that brush pile sitting out all weekend long, and I understand that too. Then again, people don't want to see the mighty tighty sit out all weekend or all week long either,
Or a couch,
or a couch or anything like that, right? It does happen.
But Jim, you feel you have the manpower and you have the equipment.
We'll schedule it, we'll just make it happen.
I
It was Monday and Tuesday before anyway, right? Garbage days. Or was it Tuesday and Wednesday? Tuesday and Wednesday, yeah.
But are we done discussing, making a motion, or are we that far?
I was kind of hoping when we outsourced the trash pickup and the recycle. I was kind of hoping that would free up hours for the guys to, do more preventive maintenance on things, equipment, jetting out sewer lines and doing all that type of stuff instead of having them 2 days a week picking up trash, having them at least 1 day a week picking up limbs and grass and everything. I mean, right now, I'm not saying, and I agree with you, but it is convenient. I mean, I take my stuff to recycle lot. I mean, would you need the recycle lot if you did this in the future? Convenience though, I mean, somebody goes out on a Tuesday and the weather's nice, picks up all their stuff, what are they gonna do with it until the following Monday when you go to pick it up?
Right. And the other option to that is, to play devil's advocate, is you just call in when you need it picked up. The problem with that is, what I see is, as opposed to scheduling it one day, is the constant remobilization, getting everyone around to go out. You might go out 1 hour a day, all 5 days of the week, and then you're mobilizing every day and using more fuel. And
I wouldn't do that.
I'm just interested in how people take care of their yards if they're, gonna do that. And put their, I think they want it nice looking on the weekends, maybe mowing on a Wednesday, Thursday,
Sure.
Friday.
You know
Sure.
that if you clean up around your house on the weekend, you're not gonna take that stuff to the backyard and pile it up and then get up bright and early Monday morning so you can haul it all out front. You're gonna place everything out in the front yard,
Absolutely.
and that's when we have all the lake traffic and everybody driving through Hicksville, and they're going,
Weekend.
wow, this town is really trashy.
That's what I meant, yeah.
I mean, I'm torn between the thing, we need to pick it up, but I don't care how you schedule it, you're gonna end up with all that stuff laying out in the front yards.
You could stop by and say, hey, you can't put that out till Monday. Mike could do that. Somebody really abuses it.
Then you get
if we
pissed
enforced
by
it,
Yeah, what?
If they're grass clipping and collecting it, or,
I mean, I'll probably take mine, I'm able, but yeah, the older people.
well, we'd want grass clippings, obviously, to be in a bag or in some kind of basket, so that, if we're gonna pick them up.
I guess try and see how it goes and always scrap it. But you're thinking about not having the recycling lot, is that what you're leaning?
No, we would leave that open in the meantime.
You keep saying meantime.
This
or
is
until then.
this is in addition to.
Yeah, in addition to, and then if it gets really popular and people are signing in at this recycling lot like they're supposed to, and we see those numbers go way down, then we'll have data to support a decision.
We've never picked up grass clippings before. We've always done limbs and trees and Christmas trees. I think that was a nice convenience. Most people, I guess a lot of people, if they do want to collect their grass clippings, they take them to the recycling lot. I've seen a lot of people unloading.
I go to the recycle lot quite a bit, but like you said, there's a lot of people with cars that haul them with their trunks open and everything else, driving all the way there, their lid open, to bring their limbs or the grass clipping in bags, and it would be convenient.
And God bless them for doing that, then it's
Right.
not laying out, in their yard or whatever, but just trying to think of services that we could provide that, would add value, but at the same time
What do you
not,
plan on doing it weekly, bi-weekly, monthly?
yeah, weekly.
What if you just do it twice a month or something? Because,
You really have stuff piled up.
well, I mean, how often do people trim? I mean,
Grass
Mine's-
clippings would be more the,
right, but, I'm one of the ones that go to
We
recycle.
get high wind, I'll have a good couple hands full.
I think for grass clippings, you're asking for trouble, because if it gets wet, I mean, there's
Leave
gonna
that thing
be,
and suck it
I
up.
think grass clippings, you're asking for trouble. Limbs,
They have to be bagged.
yeah, they put in brown paper bags or whatever, I mean, it's still gonna, and you get a garbage bag full of grass clippings, that's gonna be awful heavy before you're gonna pick it up with.
Then you're gonna get a call that it's killing their grass, sitting there at the curb until it's picked up.
You won't have to mow that, so that's less grass clippings.
This thing's really going south, ain't it?
I'm
good deed
for it.
goes
Try it and
unpunished.
see what happens. Usually we're cutting services,
Grass clippings out
so this is something positive.
out in the sewer.
That's what everybody else does.
Well, if I could back up to what Eric was saying, and that's true, we would like to do more preventative maintenance. It wasn't on the agenda here, but we've got some serious problems with the jetpack. We can talk about that Wednesday. There could be an enormous expense to get it back up to snuff. And we really have some areas that we want to work on to vac mostly, as opposed to jetting. We do have the older truck that still jets fairly well, that can be used to jet. But the newer one, the 94, I call it the newer one, but it's may have seen its last days.
What's wrong with it?
I'm not exactly sure, but somebody mentioned $50,000 to fix it.
The tank on the back is rusting through. It can't stop.
So your committee will discuss,
Yeah, we're discussing that's on the agenda.
Tank runs about $2.50 a gallon. How many gallon is it?
Hmm?
A tank runs about $2.50 a gallon. How many gallon is it?
Uh, Well, we're talking pressure where you suck up the stuff and put it in the back. That won't hold pressure. So you can't,
Where all the
every time you
debris
suck it, it
goes.
blows it all over the place.
Yeah, where all the debris goes in and it blows back out. That's why I see all that black stuff when we were doing it down here by the bank, all that black stuff coming out the exhaust.
And it kind of, the metal deteriorated and something you couldn't see until it finally gave way and blew it out. And it wasn't something that was interior. And from what my understanding is, you gotta get a guy to dismantle the thing to get in there to find out.
Right.
So there's a lot of time and labor involved.
And then
We're trying to do
replace
it local with.
Then replacement.
Repair it, at a lesser, cheaper, at less expensive rate.
Right. But it may not be, it may be over their skill set to do it all and do it the way it should be done.
Right.
Then you'd have to call Brown Equipment, and that's when you're gonna get into,
But there's no way of knowing that until you've
Right.
actually opened the thing up and get in it and see what's wrong.
I think the worst thing we could do is not use our vac truck and not use it on a regularly scheduled basis, both jetting and backing. I think it should be used daily almost. And West High Street, we know that combined sewer is a 15-inch, and there's probably only a 5-inch hole left in it because it's so full of roots. And we can't get those roots out with our root cutter. We could farm it out, and it'd be nice to farm that out, get it all cleared, and see how the flow goes then from that side of town. We might be rid of a lot of more flood reduction problems. And then have it lined real nice.
Like you
Brand new
said,
sewer.
other jobs for these guys, you know, to do the camera work. We have 2 different cameras now to do the laterals and the mains and look for those kind of situations we got throughout town. And Markham and Mappman knows that needs to be looked at now or in the future. But
Yeah, and we could talk about that more Wednesday, but that's kind of what we do now as it comes up. Hey, we get to get out there, get somebody to get the camera out there and see what's going on, and so.
some problems.
Okay. Mike's committee will talk about both those issues at the meeting coming up.
Wednesday night?
Okay, and then you have in the packet a letter from the EPA on a resolution of violation.
Yeah, I just saw that. I don't know. I didn't put that in there, I don't think.
It's from pre-your day.
New guy.
You're supposed to say not my problem.
But at least it's good news, right? Yeah.
Jobs are problems.
And if I may comment, this appeared to me after I read it and highlighted it everywhere. OEPA changed their format on how you report to this plan and added to their format, and there was no notification of such prior change to the village. So they changed their format, we submit our sampling, our report, and it's in violation then because the format changed. And I'm kind of running into that with this Chicago Avenue deal with the permit modification. So, because I sent another one out and I got kicked back again, and so the check's gonna come back now, and I just talked to Andy this morning. He's like, I don't want to redo the letter for the permit modification, because it's like 4 pages. He said, okay, the letter will be fine, just change the dates on it, change some relevant information, but you can use your original letter. And I was like, phew, okay, thank you.
When's the deadline?
October 1st.
I mean, for you to have your letter.
Oh, October 1st. I mean, whenever I'll probably have it into them in another couple weeks, but October 1st is when we have to have that changed to phase 2, because that's when Chicago Avenue is supposed to break ground. So I'm not worried, I don't feel crunched by time.
I assume the sooner we get the letter in and the sooner we know, the less stress you'll
Yeah.
have.
Well, they've already approved it to go to phase 2. This is a formality. And the formalities is what we're finding out is where, if you don't do it in their template, or you don't point out, the right section and code and paragraph and number, they're real sticklers for all the minutia. So it has to be worded just carefully and just right, so,
Bureaucrats.
yeah.
Going on in, can you tell us about the nomination application? That's next in the
Oh, for the
packet.
water tower.
Yes, that was done to, this nomination was submitted to satisfy the requirement for the deadline of March 1st. So if the council desired to move forward with this, we would still need to give me the permission to enter into a contract with Pogemeyer. But the nomination had to be in by March 1st, so that's why this was, and this again will be discussed Wednesday, I'm pretty sure, at the water and sewer meeting.
Okay. All right.
One way said Wednesday's gonna be a long meeting.
4 hours is what I heard.
Do you have a verbal update on the park restroom project?
I do. Our wastewater superintendent and myself were out there last week, and the contractor was looking at where to hook in the sanitary, and at that point, it was determined he may have to go all the way to the road. But he was doing some digging today and scratching the surface, and where it's going to go, there's a concern over the water that comes off the building and how it will get away. So it's very important that that gets, resolved. He knows he's gonna have to raise it up to meet the pavement. So it's going to be higher than the ground around there. But yeah, he's started.
Will it be handicap accessible?
Oh yeah, it has to be. Has to be. It's gotta be ADA compliant.
What is the drop dead date of completion?
June 1st.
All right.
What does the, he can go out to the street and see what the depth, or look at a print, see what the depth of the sewer is. What does that have to do with getting this building started and get it up?
He's subcontracting that work. So I'm assuming his subcontractors had questions on where he could tie in at.
But in 20 minutes, you would know what the depth is on the sewer out front on Main, and you know where you're setting here. One shot, you know where to bring your pipe in, or where he can put a stub through the wall at, he can get the thing going up. You gotta watch this guy, because he finds reasons not to get things done.
Well, I think, and I'm not gonna comment on that, but I think originally he was hoping to tap into the existing tap that was there for the previous building, and to find that,
And that's fine.
yeah. Then he would save time and money. Obviously, every contractor wants to save time and money by going all the way to the road. I think, though, after the meeting, right, he believes he's gonna have to go all the way to the road.
Yeah, because there's no way of telling where, when that building's tore down, where they capped it off, where it's at. So
But I can't see why that's stopping the construction company from putting the building up.
I know where the building sits is gonna have to get raised up probably 18 inches.
Yeah,
Because it sits in a hole.
yeah, it's in a low spot where they chose to put it. I don't know when all that was decided, the actual footprint where it would
You
be.
can still get the pipe stubbed out and know the elevations and pipe.
Sure, I mean,
I see what you're saying, but.
Set your finished floor elevation and shoot the sewer, stub a pipe through the wall, done deal, put the building up. Because it'll be June long before you ever think about it.
Will you do me a favor next time you're having coffee with him, tell him that?
Yes, I will. That will not.
That might help.
That will not be a problem.
Does anyone else have any questions for the administrator? Okay, we will go on to the solicitor's report.
I'm gonna kind of do it in reverse order. I had prepared draft language at the request of the ordinance committee, I think it was, regarding requiring annexation for future utilities, and got that back from Sheila with the comment about adding language in to do a sewer, and that's what I've been working on. It isn't as simple as just putting the word sewer in there with it or whatever, but
Adding,
I had just included water on there, that if they extended water, or people that had water already through the village, that if they were asked to, would be required to annex to the village, and then anybody in the future that was outside of the village, if they wanted water from the village, they.
water or sewer.
That's what I need to add in, but it's not as simple as just adding the word sewer after water. I got to address some sewer issues in there, which I've been working on. I will have that for the next meeting. And she didn't say anything when she emailed me back, Sheila did, but there was another ordinance to do with digging in the right-of-way. Did she share that with you? The only blank that I recall in there was I had left a blank for whatever the fee was going to be to get the permit. And so if I got that, some resolution under that issue, I could bring that back for the next meeting as well, and we'd have both of those back. But her email back to me only addressed the utility ordinance and not the ordinance to do with getting a permit for digging in the right-of-way.
Did she share that with you on this sewer? Anything that he sent her?
I mean, we're talking like 2-3 weeks ago, and
Yeah, when we had that meeting. with
yeah,
the
and I had sent her a proposed, I mean, it was like 2 pages, I mean, it was pretty detailed about requiring people to annex and all that, but it only had water language in there. And then she wrote back and said the committee said they wanted sewer to address the situation out there, and that's what I've been working on. It's not quite ready yet. That's all I'm saying. I haven't sent anything back to her. I sent that, but I also at the same time had sent that proposed language to do with the digging in the right-of-way was the other issue you guys, she had given
For
me.
insurance, correct?
Yeah, she had given me, insurance, proof of insurance and a permit.
Yeah.
And I think the only blank that I had in there was how much did we want to put in there the permit fee was.
Yeah, and you remember that, Jim? We never came up with a price on anything like that. Was you here?
So,
I don't think he was here, but I think we kind of left it
Yeah.
in his hands to
Okay.
establish.
I can get with him then. I just say
Oh, yeah.
if I get that number, I can finalize that and put it in actual ordinance form and bring that back for those two back for the next meeting.
The other item on that, Troy, would be if the issue would ever arise, and it could, where the EPA would require people outside of the limits because of a failure of their systems.
Right.
They are allowed to, then they always look to the next nearest municipal facility to make them hook up to. And the municipal can say no unless you help us, and that's where the money comes in, and
Right.
EPA will help the municipal find money to extend facilities and whatnot.
Which we could put that in there, but I think even under that circumstance, we could still require them, if they are adjoining to the village, that they annex to the
annexed.
village. Yeah, we could still require them to do that. The problem you run into is if, and I'm just, let's just use the most known example around here would be Gordon Creek. If something failed on their system and they said, hey, Village of Hicksville, EPA said you gotta hook them up, or whatever, you say, that's fine. They do share a common boundary slightly with the industrial park out there, but I don't know if it's enough
Yes, it
to
is.
qualify them to be, and if it is, that's fine.
Because that's why they gave us, or that's why we requested that.
Well, we got an
to
easement,
someday-
it would have to be the ownership, it's not just the easement. So the ownership, the easement was so we could get back there if we wanted to tie them in, but they gotta have so much of their boundary, the perimeter of their property, I think it's 5%, yeah. 5% has to be adjoining to existing village property.
I thought we set that all up and worked with the commissioners when we worked with the Gilpin family.
That was setting up
Make
the
sure
easement
that
so that
we
we
could
had a
get
way to
through
tie
that.
them in from our existing, that had nothing to do with annexation though.
No, but I thought we had everything,
Right, we do have access if we need to run a pipe, something like that, we got an easement and we can run it. But that's all I'm saying is in that circumstance, we obviously couldn't require them to annex if they don't otherwise meet the requirements for annexation. We could make them sign an agreement that said, if you ever meet the requirements for annexation, you'll immediately agree to sign a petition and everything. That's what they did over to Defiance with some of those property owners back there on Spruce Street. The way it's laid out, some of them physically could not annex even if they wanted to because they didn't share enough of a boundary on either side or across the road with anybody that was within the city already. And so it's like, well, I'll annex when I'm legally capable of annexing. And they kind of signed agreements agreeing to that and they let them go and let them keep their water and stuff. So, but yeah, I'll talk to Jim about that number and that permit application with them. We should have those for the next time. The income tax lawsuit, I don't know if anybody saw in the paper, not only did they get a no, they got a big hell no from the court. Not only did he deny their injunction request, he dismissed their lawsuit against the state and said that they didn't have, that the state had the grounds to regulate all this stuff. And so we're ahead of the rest of those guys because we already got all of our stuff passed and now they're scrambling to get it passed, the people that were in the lawsuit. So unless they appeal that, and I'm not sure,
They said they were going to,
I
but
suspect they're going to, but I'm not sure the 28 days to appeal is up yet. But that thing probably won't be settled for another 5 years, the way appeals and things like that go. But I didn't read the whole opinion, I only read the newspaper article on it. And it you know, some of that stuff just depends upon who the judge is in front of. You know, some of it's total politics, and he sided with the state over the municipalities, and that's the problem when you got to file something like that in Franklin County. There's a lot more state politician and bureaucrat type judges there.
yeah, it's a lot of politics.
But we're on board with what we did before, so we're good to go for now. And then first, the other issue that's on there, like I mentioned something before the meeting, I don't want to go on the record about it. If anybody's got any questions about it, we can talk about it afterwards. First reading of resolution 2018-02 by caption only, a resolution of the Village of Hicksville, Ohio, directing the Defiance County Auditor to assess and enter the cost of demolishing and removing from the premises dangerous structures or buildings on the tax duplicate of the property described in Exhibit A. I'm told that's not an emergency. Do you want me to suspend the rules or anything, or just do the?
Yes, let's suspend the rules. I move we suspend the rules.
Okay, which two? It's the one on Smith and the one uptown.
it's on the back.
It's on the back.
Oh,
Yes, yeah, that's right, though. Those are the two properties.
okay, the one Coley's, is that just the one that's fell down? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes.
Whatever we spent money on
Okay,
removing anything,
yeah.
you know.
Or
Let's
anything
get her
we
done.
spend money in the future.
Well, then we'd have to recertify it after we spend more.
Oh, yeah?
Well, until after we submit it, we would.
Right. That's not, she doesn't put them on until September.
Right. So if we spend more money between now and September, we theoretically could add that in
Like if we
and
end up
submit it.
cleaning up in June.
Right.
Yeah. Well, my thingy still stands.
I'll second Ron's proposal.
Roll call, please.
Bassett,
Yes.
Ridgway,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Second, third readings of resolution 2018-02 by caption only, a resolution of the Village of Hicksville, Ohio, directing the Defiance County Auditor to assess and enter the cost of demolishing and removing from the premises dangerous structures or buildings on the tax duplicate of the properties described in Exhibit A.
Make motion to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Bassett,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Ridgway,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
And I don't know what reason Ron had for saying he wanted to have an executive session, but I'd like to add on to that for possible litigation.
Mine is economic development.
That's all I thought.
We will go on to the department head report, and police chief spoke to me prior to the meeting, and he is not going to make it, so we will go on to Fire Chief Kramer.
There's a few classes coming up. 2 of them are in Indianapolis and 1 is in Toledo. I'd like for Bruce Silcott and I to attend. We have money in the training budget to cover it. They're on fire officer, leader, manager, stuff like that. The one in May, we may or may not go to. Depends what we get out of the one in April. Kind of like council's blessing to be able to go to that. It's $555 per person for one day, 2 classes in one day.
You have to have continuing ed with your being in your department,
Continuing ed,
and
yeah.
does that go towards that?
This will go towards that, yeah.
Where's this held at?
It's at FDIC, which is a big firefighter show and stuff. It's down in Indianapolis.
Oh, will you be staying all night?
No.
Or is it a day trip?
It's a day trip.
Can you absorb $500 worth of information in one day?
I'd hope so, but information's expensive.
The committee
Yeah, we
gave
discussed
the
that.
blessings to it, so. And
As
it's in the
police
budget
and fire
for
committee?
training.
Is that in minutes somewhere?
Yep, it will be. Well, we just
Oh,
met this.
okay.
today.
Tonight.
All right.
You guys are all
I was gonna say I didn't read it.
There's enough money in the budget for that kind of stuff, so
Then present a motion and we'll all approve it.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Jones?
Yes.
Ridgway?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
Arth?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Thank you.
No partying.
Thank you for asking.
Time.
It's a day trip.
It's a day trip. And just a reminder, next Saturday, the 17th, we'll be having a pancake and sausage breakfast at the fire station.
Great.
Good food. You may have any questions for me?
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then we will go on to the EMS chief's report. It's all you, Bruce.
Over the past couple, what'd you say?
Thank you.
Stephen. Over the past couple weeks, I have been in constant contact with Cheryl concerning some things that I had seen over there. And one of the resolutions that we had come up with just kind of fell into my lap, and it concerns the billing. There is a new billing software out there that would allow me to submit all bills electronically, and by doing this, we should be able to get paid a little faster and more efficiently. And I have talked to Cheryl. Cheryl's on board with it, and the cost on it is $200 a month, so it'd be $2,400 for the year. And there is a $200 training fee, so for the first year it'd be $2,600. And I would like to see if we can get that implemented. There is certain reasons why I would like to get this implemented, and I have, like I said, I have talked with Cheryl. I probably talk to Cheryl 2 or 3 times a day, and we'll just go on from there.
Is this the only company that provides this billing software for
That I've ever heard of. yeah.
Medicare, Medicaid, and insurance? That's the purpose, right? They're gonna bill all 3? And it's the only one you know about?
That I've ever heard of.
The other
And Troy has the contract to look over.
The other thing that this will do is that this company will allow us to take our current reporting system, which is emergency reporting, and we use a Nemesis 3 report, and it will actually, I can do an export right into the software, so that will help free up some time there as well, too.
I think coding's a big key with all this, isn't it?
Yes,
You know?
one of the things about the software is if there's something not coded right, everything goes to a clearinghouse first. And then from the clearinghouse, if something's not coded right, it'll kick it right back out to me, and it'll tell me what I need to change, and then I can resubmit, and then it will get forwarded on to Medicare, Medicaid, and to the private insurance companies. We should be able to see a vast increase in time payment, as far as, or decrease, I should say, we should be able to get a payment fairly reasonably, in a reasonable amount of time. The other thing about that is with billing, the current way, we do get occasional bills back for wrong codes, wrong addresses, things like that. This would help negate that.
And the police, fire, the EMS committee, we discussed this too, and we're both 100% in favor of it. You know, Cheryl's in favor of this system too, and it seems like it'll pay for itself.
How did it work in their budget?
It's not more expensive than what they already have.
It's already in their budget. They already have it in their budget.
This is not in their budget if they start it in 2018, which they will, but we should have enough income coming in because of Bruce's work in a few days it will be okay.
Good.
It wasn't specifically in the budget because we didn't know about it.
Right.
Now we do.
I appreciate your communication with Cheryl and everybody here. That's huge, thanks.
That's all I have.
Thanks, Bruce.
Motion to purchase that?
Yes, please.
How much to purchase the new EMS software, billing software?
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Ridgway,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Everly.
Yes.
And there's no one here from the park, so we will not have a department head report.
She's still looking for lifeguards, though. Want
Okay.
to make that comment for her.
Okay.
So if anybody knows anybody that
And typically,
job,
they pay for the training and we reimburse them. So if there's anyone out there wants to be a lifeguard, I believe 16 is the age you need to be to get the training.
Good summer job.
Yep. Okay, we will go on to the fiscal officer's report.
Okay, you have the month-to-date, year-to-date cash statement. And correct me if I'm wrong, Troy. It's net profit column on the income tax. Is what we'll no longer be collecting.
If that's from businesses, the net
Yes.
profit from businesses, then yes.
Just for you guys to look on there. It's column number 2.
It's supposed to be sent back to us after they subtract a little fee for their collection. We'll have to keep an eye on that.
But,
Don't they still have the option to pay us directly and/or pay in the?
They do, but
gateway?
nobody's gonna do that because it's so much easier to file for the
Okay.
gateway, the business gateway.
and a lot of them are notifying Kim that they're already signed up for it.
Right.
Well, and it's not really for like companies that all they do is business in Hicksville. It's more like the people, like contractors that come in here and do work on the hospital for a while that have to pay a certain percentage here, and then they go and they're at the same time they're working over in Antwerp, and then they're working over in the other. They can just file one place centrally on all those things and have the business gateway like separate it all out to where it goes. So for those type of companies, you can understand why they might be interested in doing it that way. That doesn't mean we like it, but.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm happy to see we have a positive number there in the income tax report.
And we also have the, if you notice in the bills, I put these two out here, when you're talking about the refuse, this is what came in, this is what went out this month. So you might want to keep that in mind when you start adding more stuff that's going to cost money.
So we brought in $16,959.51, and we paid out $16,076.86 to Whirler.
Exactly.
Okay. Good point.
And that's all I have.
Does anyone have any questions for Cheryl? All right.
We're gonna sell our garbage back?
I haven't heard really much about it.
I think it's on the agenda.
Okay, 'cause that was always my plan when we did this, and,
I think I read that somewhere. We're gonna talk about
I
it.
thought we were gonna wait and see how our refuse service went.
Wasn't that our agenda for Wednesday?
Oh, okay. talk about it Wednesday.
At 3,
It'll be a long meeting.
Huh?
2
It's
hours.
gonna be a long meeting.
2 hours.
Okay, we will go on then for the mayor's report before we go into executive session, but I would like to thank Mike Barth for covering me while I was on vacation. And sounds like you did a great job from what I'm hearing.
Sort of meeting. Nobody was here, right? The councilmen were here.
And I would, yeah, I would like to hear comments from Eric and Larry about the new council training class that they went to. What'd you learn?
I don't recall.
It was quite informative. I think I had a little bit of an advantage since I was not an elected official and I was able to set in for a whole year and set through these meetings. A lot of them I had only been there for maybe set through 1 or 2 meetings and they were in this class for the first time. So the instructors, when they went to have this really nice PowerPoint they were bragging about before class started, and they got on this first slide and they start talking, and as soon as they got to the very first paragraph, all you did see hands everywhere. And for the next 2 hours was just questions and questions and questions. And
It was very informative though, really.
yeah, it was. The speakers were all really good. Couldn't complain about any of the speakers. They didn't read word for word. They weren't monotone, but pretty informative stuff.
Great.
It was kind of funny on some of their village issues or city issues that, you know, we have the same problems here. And they talked about, you know, what you do for your first reading, second reading, third reading, emergency, suspend the rules and all that stuff. And what we do here is sometimes not 100% what they think it should be, but they like going through all the readings of all of them at all times. But that was pretty informative.
Great. Well, I'm glad you went.
Yeah.
So, just to update you, you know, I've tried to get everybody to help get a CRA committee together. The CRA Council, I believe it's called. And so we have, council and myself and the planning commission have the members that we need together on it. So then those 5 members, when they get organized, we'll need to find 2 more members. So currently we have Matt Guilford, Jim Seiler, Taylor Klepper, Michael Mazur, and Linda McMahon. Linda's from the Planning Commission. So Cheryl has a call in to Jerry Hayes to find out if the paperwork's been filed with the state. And both of us left a message for him asking if there's a sample application form that we can use to
I think
tweak.
there probably is. I'll
You
look
have
and see-
one?
I'll look and see if I can find
Okay.
it. There's quite a bit of information out there on it. And I think I had a conversation with Jerry, I don't know how long ago. I thought he told me everything had been submitted, but they hadn't heard back yet. Double check with him. That's, we're calling a conversation from a couple of weeks ago.
So then we'll need to get the council, CRA council together and get a couple more members on there. And we have a thank you from Maxine Haver's family. We sent her a memorial because she was mayor's court clerk for several years. So we have a thank you. And I just want to announce there's a men's Lenten breakfast, March 23rd at 7:30 a.m. at the Cornerstone Missionary Church on Arthur Street, formerly known as the Presbyterian Church. Come for breakfast, fellowship, and devotion. So, I didn't know that was going to be just for men. Let's see what else I have here. I thought it was a community breakfast.
Hashtag me too.
Okay, so that is all I have. Oh, and Mike Barth wants to make some special mentions.
Yeah, we had, the wrestling team, I think we had one,
Micaiah Ankney.
Mackay Ankney, traveled to districts, I believe, and also, Mrs. Haver, Malika Haver, went to state in gymnastics. Want to congratulate her and performing and doing her state on that. And the basketball team, I guess, is moving on to districts. It's been a while since they've done that, I think 76, so it's kind of exciting for the school, and that basketball team plays really hard this year. And they get a play tomorrow night, I think at Wayne and Trace at 8 o'clock in Elida. So congratulations to them, and great season for all of them and all the academics the school does. Downtown, I think they had been working on the flowers and decorating them a little bit for spring coming up here, and now we're having a little bit more colder weather again, but hopefully the snow misses us, and moving forward to spring and activities in the community. So that's all I had.
I spent the day today with high school students, sophomores and juniors, I believe, doing a manufacturing day for high school students from Hicksville. And we started out at Gordon Creek Granite and broke up into groups and did tours there. And then they went to APT, where they did tours and yeah, had their lunch there, supplied by Red Angel Pizza, I believe, which was nice of them to do that. And then went to Stowe and toured their factory. So it was a fun day to see the high school students see those factories and kind of hear what they had to say. Yeah.
Possible job opportunities for them down the road.
Yep. So I guess we can entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make that motion, Mayor, for possible litigation and economic development.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Bassett?
Yes.
Barth?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Ridgway?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Any action taken